this meeting to order. Any adjustments to the agenda? Karen, you have any?
Yeah, I have two actually. So item number 6, warrants to the treasurer. Payroll warrant dated April 2nd should read April 3rd.
You mean actually?
October 3rd. And then item 6B should also state October 3rd. And I also believe we will have an executive session tonight.
Okay. All right, any select board announcements?
I wanted to bring up, I had asked, when Karen and I last spoke before she went out on vacation and she was roughing out the agenda, I asked that the issue of the town reserve funds be put on it. And when the draft came out, was circulated while Karen was out, so I guess Kim circulated it. It wasn't on, and there was a note saying if you wanted to make any changes, you should let her know. So I responded to that and said that I would like the reserve funds on, and they still didn't get on. And then another board member opined to me that this was sort of my own curiosity more than anything else. And so I need to explain that it is not my own curiosity. It is, we got a problem. We can't, well, the town office, the treasurer had, the acting treasurer, I guess, finance director or assistant treasurer, nobody's been able to come up with town meeting articles that established a number of the reserve funds. We have quite a number of funds that are potential candidates. There's 25 or 30 funds. The town has given me references to, I think, 4. I came up with a few more. I now have a tally of 8 that I can show where the articles were adopted. But I called the League of Cities and Towns. I spoke with, what's his name? Kale, what's the name? Romanov. I keep having to remember the Russian royal family. Who's an attorney up there. He indicated it's a serious problem and directed me to a memo that the League of Cities and Towns had circulated. I'll quote from part of that. The bottom line is that a reserve fund does not exist unless the voters have approved it at an annual or special meeting. Accordingly, if you are not sure if you have a bona fide reserve fund, check the town or special meeting minutes to see if a record of the voters creating the fund exists. If no such record exists, neither does the fund. And if the fund doesn't exist, then we can't legally engage in financial transactions. I think we can probably accept money in, but we can't pay money out, not legally. So, and this is why I've been pushing on it. I've actually been trying to get this resolved for at least 6 months. I've been talking to Karen about it. And because my concern is that we have an opportunity coming up, which is town meeting, to put together articles if we need them for some of these funds. But I don't want to put articles in front of the town meeting for funds that already have voter approval. So we really need to figure out what's there and what isn't. I have myself gone through a lot of old town meeting articles, and as I say, I'm up to 8, but I could use a little help. And we as a town, with a town government, I think it's incumbent on us to fill this gap, and I would like to know what articles we need and get those drafted so that we can be ready for town meeting. So because it didn't make it onto the agenda, it's not an item we can consider tonight, but affirmatively requesting that this be on the next agenda. I was, the agenda that came out that we're operating under tonight has a box on it at the bottom of it that shows things that are coming up in future meetings, and it's not there either. And we need to get this taken care of so that we can be good to go at town meeting. So that's my pitch.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a couple of things here. A couple of announcements. Rural and Small Cities Program is a program overview. It has 2 tracks for participants. It's a program. States, publics, authorities, municipal bond banks, counties, and other governments who join the program will collaborate with experts and receive technical assistance to understand disinvestment across rural areas, develop an idea for program-related investment that can provide credit enhancement for a bond deal to raise money for infrastructure projects, and submit the idea for a program-related investment to the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and potentially other philanthropic funders. The other track is for to join the program to participate in a 2-day workshop to receive additional support to build capacity for much of the same things. So that's one thing. Another one was a strategy for resilient Vermont. It's a resiliency information strategies approach to make Vermont more resilient to increasing climate hazards. That's happening, doesn't say where, maybe it's just online. It says on 10/23 at 12 p.m. and 10/27 at 6 p.m. and there's a QR code and a link there. There's also the Vermont Short-Term Rental Summit, which is for select boards and town administrators and town managers to talk about short-term rental policies and ordinances. Actually, going to be a panelist on that. That's on November 8th, which is a Saturday. Begins at 8 a.m. with breakfast. I believe it's up at the Lake Maury Resort. I'm not sure. Why did this show up, Karen? It's a police law enforcement magazine.
Pointed toward the camera.
It doesn't have my name on it, so I passed it along.
Oh, okay. It's got the, oh, you're right. That's a couple people ago.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Alright, anybody else? Alright, any public comments on items not on the agenda?
Thank you. I'm not sure that it's my place to say this, but I would like to follow up on what Fletcher said, and I think that this topic is a little more complicated than it seems. And if I'm looking at the list of funds that we have, there are governmental funds, proprietary funds, fiduciary funds, reserve fund, other governmental funds, grant funds, fixed assets, and general long-term debt. And the only ones that fall under reserve funds, which I believe are what is in contention here, are number 4 on this list. And they all have sites where the articles were passed, except for one, which is the Capital Reserve Fund. But I would suggest, and I'm just going to throw this out, that because this is such a complicated issue and there are so many funds, that I think that it's more appropriate that it be discussed in one of your budget work sessions, because that's a less formal setting. It's still open to the public. It's transparent, but it is the kind of a thing where you can bat around ideas and really get deeper into this. So I'm just suggesting that it maybe is better for this topic to be discussed in a work session than at a formal board meeting. That's all.
And I would be very happy to sit down with you and go over how you reach your conclusions, because sometimes the title of the fund isn't a good guide. It really depends on what the fund is supposed to be doing. But, you know, and admittedly, I cast a broad net. I was worried about these funds, so I scooped up everything I could think even might be involved.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah, that would be great.
Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, first, because it's been a month since your last meeting, I'm a bit late congratulating everyone who organized and presented Discover Putney, which was truly excellent. Next, you all have received a photo that I took this afternoon around 3 o'clock of demolition debris being dumped next to the former Quinn property opposite the Friends Meeting House. I believe that that dumping was illegal. And Mr. Chairman, speaking factually, not personally, the truck belongs to McGowan Property Management. So I simply offer that as public comment on items not on the agenda for anyone and everyone to follow up as they should. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fairman. That is there. It's clean concrete. It's for bank stabilization. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman, it is clean concrete that is broken up from, it was removed from somewhere and broken up into large pieces. It will never, ever decompose into anything other than what it is now. If no one else will, I'm going to find out whether, in fact, that is allowed for dumping, and in fact, whether there is a dump allowed there. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other public comment?
Yes, I did attempt to get on the agenda, however, either my message didn't go through or it was late. I am not sure which. I have in my hands observational data of cars attempting to exit out of Carroll Brown Way past the co-op. I am a member of the Putney Farmers Market. I'm on their board, and we have observed a lot of cars. I would like to present this to you either with a speech or just hand it to you and get the heck out. I am open to suggestions, but regardless, it is a dangerous situation which I would like you all to be aware of.
What's your name?
I am Kirsten Lawman, sir. Would you like the...
Yeah, well, I guess we'll.
I can't even see you, so. We have a nice podium here now.
Yes, so, would you be okay with the speech, or would you like me to just hand it over to you? Regardless, I only have 3 copies, I'm afraid. So as I said, my name is Kirsten Lundser. I'm the secretary of the Putney Farmers Market Board of Directors. And every Sunday, an average of over 14 cars are witnessed by market goers attempting to turn left coming out of the Putney Co-op parking lot. As of October 12th, there have been a total of 339 vehicles attempting this turn. These cars block the one-way road and create jams as drivers are forced to choose between performing a multi-point turn or squeezing past oncoming traffic onto Route 5. Some of these drivers in violation are exceptionally aggressive. Even those who realize that they are going the wrong way are, quickly, they can also create dangerous situations as they swing wide, attempting to turn back towards the right. This past market day, October 12th, we had 33 vehicles attempting to turn left, a new record for this year. While the newly installed signs, which are greatly appreciated, I don't know who's responsible for that, but thank you, they are often ignored. Or they're driving down Carroll Bryan Way and just don't see any of the do not enter signs until they are right on top of them. This information is one day of the week, just one. And it's a busy day now, but you see every other community member that I've spoken to about the issue have noticed similar things, and the co-op workers have collaborated that. They always see people going down that way. Between the pedestrian fatality in that area back in May, the many drivers accidentally turning left, the stream of pedestrians going from the co-op to the market and back, Alice Hallway Drive being closed during the week, and the upcoming increase of traffic that new housing unit will bring, that area is not safe. With this knowledge in mind, I would ask the board for two things. Please support the installation of a crosswalk across Carroll Brown Way from the Putney Co-op to the green space the market uses. The second, please find a way to make this area safer for pedestrians and drivers. In the short term, maybe that means just increasing signage and something that, again, has already begun and looks really nice, and painting crosswalks. But longer term, it might mean installing a roundabout or something similar in the area. Regardless, this area isn't safe and it needs to change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's not the first time we've heard that.
Well, I've seen people do it deliberately, and it's just laziness on their part. They don't want to have to go all the way around. And I don't know that we can stop people from just willfully disobeying law, other than installing one of those strips that you put to spikes for tires if you're going the wrong way, right? Which was my first thought. A little bit unfriendly, but effective. The other thought I had was closing that part of the road off entirely for the duration of Alice Hallway, the construction. And that would mean that everybody would have to come in and out on Carroll Brown Way. That's a possibility. I support crosswalks. I think the town could probably put in a crosswalk with not too much issue from anybody, because it's a town-owned road. We have talked about a roundabout on Route 5. Again, that's a state highway. It's in their hands. They move as fast as they move. But I hear you. I've seen it with my very own eyes. Not sure there's a very good way to stop it from happening, but I think we are aware of the safety issues there. It's one of those things that I think would probably need to study that a lot closer than we have. But I also think that waiting until the construction is done and getting some really good traffic studies done in that area at that time to see what the traffic pattern really is once that building is occupied would be a better use of our time than making something drastic right now. Other than possibly closing the road, I think that might help, but that's my 2 cents.
Big.
I think a crosswalk is a great idea, and if we can do that because it's our road, that would be fairly simple. The other thing I wonder is requesting that the sheriff do some of their hours during Sunday at in that window, because that seems like a window where there's especially there's a lot of people there, and I think maybe having them have some presence there during that time might be helpful too. Those are 2 suggestions that I think we could do that we could do immediately.
Yeah. Is the farmer's market still going on now?
We have one
more?
week.
Okay.
So we'll start back up again Mother's Day, so we have some time.
Yeah.
Well, we could ask the sheriff to park there for next Sunday. That might get people's attention.
Mr. Fairman?
You're muted.
Thanks. Mr. Chairman, I congratulate those who have offered immediate solutions. Clearly, people can be ticketed there for driving the wrong way on a one-way street. So the best suggestion we have heard is to ask the sheriff's station a cruiser down there this coming Sunday during the hours of the market, which probably will dissuade people. But if anyone decides to chance it anyway, they get a ticket for driving the wrong way on a one-way street. This will solve the problem for this year, and you do have some worthy suggestions for next year, although I would emphasize that a crosswalk is not going to stop people from turning left and driving against a one-way if they want to do it anyway. So probably enforcement in the longer run is going to be what will have word get around. Don't try that unless you want to get a ticket too. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen?
Thank you. I've already spoken to the sheriff, and he is aware of the problem there. And he will have his deputies patrolling. The biggest thing too is education. So they will be monitoring that area. And I do agree with the board that a study and potentially a redesign of that area once the project is completed for the housing. But that area definitely is going to grow, and it just needs a redesign.
Just a note, most of the people who are making this attempted turn are not from town. They're from out of town. They're the people who have never been here before. The reason we started collecting the data was a joke. Which state was the worst offender? Unsurprisingly, Vermont had the most opportunity, but Massachusetts was not far behind.
Carries. Any other public comment? Okay. Approval of the minutes for September 17th.
Move to approve the minutes for September 17, 2025 as drafted.
Second.
Where are they? Oh, there they are.
It's in there somewhere. Look good to me.
Give me just one more minute. Was it at this meeting that Bex, you agreed to work with Fletcher on the procedures?
I don't know if it was this one or the one.
It was the one
Before. That's another thing.
It was two.
Disappeared from the agenda.
It was 2 ago.
Yes.
So I think it was before us.
Okay. And,
You're good?
good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, warrants the treasurer.
I make a motion to approve and execute the, so.
I guess, hang on.
So
we're
we're
not-
doing,
Yeah,
what are we doing?
so we'll do the payroll.
Are we doing all 4 of these at the same time, or are we just doing this week's for?
Does it matter if we do them all together, or?
Can you do October 3rd?
Okay, we'll do October
Sure.
3rd.
Yes,
Um,
please.
so do we have to do separate motions for each one?
Yes. Well, no, do them the way you normally do it.
Okay, I make a motion motion to approve and execute the warrants dated October 3rd, upon completion of review.
There you go. Thank you.
Second.
Okay, payroll warrant dated October 3rd, 2025 in the amount of $18,800.71. This was the week that we did not have a meeting. Nothing unusual about the payroll. Accounts payable dated September 20th through October 3rd, 2025 in the amount of $387,728.91.
Anything of note in that warrant?
Yeah, so we had some big ticket items like Caterpillar Financial, the excavator lease payment of $18,292.46. Also there was, let me look. I believe there was a loan payment in here as well.
Vermont Bond Bank payment.
Yes.
Yes, so that is your fire department, your water and sewer bond payments. Simon's operations was $29,439.79. So that would have been the monthly contract plus the extra work for the Putney Inn pump station. You got passive in here for $23,986. Yeah, your bond bank was $189,535.12. So there was some big ticket items in here, mostly monthly payments. And with the bond payment and the excavator lease, it jumped it up.
Could you remind me why we're leasing that excavator? Was that, what work was that doing? Or is doing? Do you still have it?
Yeah, we still have it. It's our annual payment. We leased the excavator like 8 years ago. We probably have 2 more payments on it and we'll own it.
Thank goodness.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, payroll warrants. Your motion for the payroll warrants dated October 17th.
Make a motion to approve and execute the warrants of October 17th, 25 upon completion of review.
Second.
Payroll warrant dated October 17, 2025 in the amount of $20,932.22. A little bit higher, but not much. Nothing unusual. Folks all set with that?
Yep.
Accounts payable warrant dated October 4th through October 17, 2025 in the amount of $6,742.18. I think that is the lowest warrant I've ever seen.
Made up for
Short
the
list.
prior one.
And the thing with this one is it was the credit card payment that needed to be done. So that's why we have a warrant plus our taxes for payroll. A little bit of mowing, and of course, the Bill Harlow was for the water main break. That was located down near the fire station.
Okay,
Where to go to that?
yeah, I think we should do that every week.
All in favor? Aye. Alright. Town manager's report?
I do not have one this evening.
Okay. Boards, committees, and commission. Planning commission status report. Sue Coker.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Fairman.
I'm sorry to be a little slow on the buttons there. If there isn't a town manager's report, is it still in order to ask the town manager a question?
All depends, Mr. Fairman.
Depends on what.
You can answer the, you can ask the question, she might not answer.
Question.
Okay, I'll proceed and we see what happens. I
Okay.
have two. One
Okay.
is it's already happened, but I'm trying to figure out what happened. At your last meeting, there was talk about a work being done on a water main at the corner of Alice Holloway Drive and Carol Brown Way, and the water was going to be shut off. As far as I know, it was never shut off, but the hole got filled up. How did that get handled?
I have a meeting about that tomorrow with the contractor in our water department.
Oh, so it was just filled in temporarily. There's still a problem there?
Yes, there is. There needs to be a valve put on the end of the water main. And we're trying to do that without shutting down the system.
Good idea, because I heard the people in the co-op saying that they were really upset about having another water shut off so soon after the accidental one. But anyway, thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
The other thing, I sent you an email on this, so I'm assuming that you know I'm going to ask you this question. At the last select board meeting, I asked you about monitoring of our public water supply, meaning our one town well. And did I understand correctly that you got the answer from a person sitting in the audience?
I did get the answer from Ann Carey, who had happened to talk to Joe Tatro, our water guy. So yes, I did ask her for that answer. Just to clarify, I understand the situation the state is in right now with the drought, and there has been a lot of communication. And I know our area hasn't been hit as hard as the north. But this is a conversation that I'm going to open up with the emergency management director, Mr. Fairman, because I think it's important to have a handle on this, because if we don't have an issue today, we may, that's not to say we may have an issue next year. So I'm in contact with our water contractor as well to understand, what could happen, and it could be a crisis. We also need to look at making sure that our local emergency management plan has some sort of backup plan if and when something happens and there is no water.
If I may, if you finished, I'd like to comment on your excellent answer.
Sure.
Okay. The situation we're facing here is we have one well supplying hundreds of people, many businesses, organizations, and professional offices, and Landmark College. if that water supply goes out, it will be actually beyond a crisis. It will be a catastrophe. Now, we've had the driest summer here since records began in 1895. Yes, the drought is worse a little bit farther north right now, but every week it is getting worse, and the worst drought is moving south. So the reason I asked you how the water supply was doing was, I didn't ask explicitly, but I was wondering, and now I'm going to ask you explicitly, is the water level in our well being officially monitored on a daily basis?
Yes, it is, Mr. Fairman. I spoke to Joe again today. So our well, and I don't really want to get into the weeds with this, but our well pump on Sand Hill runs for a certain period of time. It pushes water into our holding tank. And Joe monitors that every day. And as long as there's no air being sucked in, then we're in good shape. So what happens is that pump pushes the water up, then it stops and it recharges. I'm working with Wyndham Regional Commission because they just were told that they can have money to support rural towns with wastewater treatment and water. I've been working on getting RFPs out so we can do a 20-year analysis on our wastewater treatment plant. Also to locate or drill a new well to have a second source. So it's in the works. It's a really slow process, and getting support to do this type of stuff. And Sue Coakley can also, she can vouch for what we're trying to do here. But we are looking out for the best interest of the town. And we do realize, one of our users is 2/3 of the water supply. And we're also looking at smart meters that can actually send an alarm to homes that you may have a water leak. So, the next question too is, and as we monitor this drought situation is, I'm going to have to ask the select board if they want to put a restriction on water use. Right now I'm not at that point, Mr. Fairman. And I continue to work daily with our water contractor, and they are the experts, and they kind of guide me, and and we guide the town, or the select board. So I'm on top of it, and I can say I do lose sleep over this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Town Manager, for an excellent answer. The reason I asked the question is simply because once our water supply starts to drop, it's not going to come up again until after the drought has ended, because the aquifer or the water table is going to have to be recharged. So this, we're going to need to know in advance, or at a very early stage, that we need to start restricting water usage before it gets out of control, because then we will have a true public emergency here. I mean, imagine Landmark College without water. Think about that. It's not the same as, here we're without water. I can go buy some water and things like that. But in a place like that, or in professional offices, or in the health clinics, they will simply be unable to operate. And also the food service establishments will not be able to operate because the health code prohibits it. So really, this is potentially a very serious situation. And I just want to be sure that we know at the very earliest sign that our water level is dropping in our wells, so we can restrict water usage. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now you're up, Sue.
Thank you. Sue Coakley, Chair of the Planning Commission. I'll just note this podium that I'm standing at, because the last time I gave a report, which was August, was away in September, I think it was Peg Alden who said, "You need a podium." And Karen had one here that week. So it's nice to use it, and I think it's wonderful for everybody to be able to stand here and address you all, address the public, with a place to put your paper. I like it. So thank you very much. Not just for me, but I think for public engagement. So you have my report, and I will summarize some key points. But maybe before I start, since you've had a chance to read it, you have any questions you wanted to ask me or any topics you'd like me to address in particular? You're the audience.
I'm particularly interested in the zoning bylaw modernization progress. I haven't been keeping up with it as much as I should have been. Sorry about that, but I know you're making progress.
Okay. Any other particular questions? Otherwise, I'll just dive in. Okay, great. So the topics are the zoning bylaw, first of all, modernization project, the comprehensive village plan, housing needs assessment, action plan, Putney Landing walkway, design construction, a comprehensive recreation plan, development of a grant proposal, implementation tracking for the 2023 town plan, and then just an overview of our projects and schedule for the next 12 months. So on zoning bylaw, I would just say that we are proceeding on track to be able to make a recommendation or have proposed regulations for hearing that we issue in December for a January hearing. But in getting there, we have made a strategic choice to take a stage 2 for part of the update that we were working on. So stage 1, which is very far along, and we recently received the town attorney comments, and we're still reviewing those right now, the issues regarding housing, economic development, compliance with updated state statutes, and then also increasing administrative ease for both sides for zoning permits. So a lot of those changes are well along the way. We've been working on them, and once we're done with reviewing the attorney comments, we're going through that, and also the town manager comments that we got in mid-late September. I think we'll be in good shape for a public review draft. I was in the process of putting one together, and then we got the town attorney comments, and we made the choice that let's just put those in before we issue a public review draft of the bylaws. The part that we have, we're taking on a stage 2 and deferring is the question about how to protect the forest blocks. It is a very important issue brought up in the town plan. It is something the state asked all municipalities to address in their town plans, and we did. And it is a concern for a number of reasons. The Planning Commission made a first cut at what a policy option might be, a forest block overlay district. We held a focus group within weeks of having putting that on the table, and received a tremendous amount of feedback there about questions that need to be answered, and things that we really weren't prepared in terms of impacts, feasibility, costs. So we felt that it's still important to do, but we needed more time to address it. And then last night, the Planning Commission had as one of its zoning bylaw community meetings, we focused in on a research plan for the next 9 to 12 months to really understand what the issue is, what options do we have. So backing away from a particular proposal, but to say there may be other ways to address this. And more importantly, to have a community conversation about it. The affected landowners feel strongly about it, but they also agree they need to be protected. It's a question of how does it happen? What is required of landowners? What is incentives? All of that. So we are proceeding stage 1 to be able to do the housing, economic development, compliance, administrative simplification on schedule, but stage 2 will take the next year. We're still writing the scope of work and research plan. We will need to find resources. I'm hoping that we can get resources donated to us to help us with that policy analysis. It's also very important that we talk with the rest of the state. This is not just a Putney issue. And I'm happy to say that, and I have a note about it, I think in here, yes, it's in the material, that A&R for the first time is doing a webinar to talk about a zoning option to address, they call it wildlife protection, but forest blocks and wildlife protection and connection are very related topics. So they're beginning to share information because we have found that there's not a lot of experience out there to draw from a town Putney size. So, and the feedback I'm getting is that stage 2, the delay to do that makes a lot of sense.
You said who's doing the, looking at that analysis? A&R.
A&R is doing their first ever webinar.
A&R, who's A&R?
Oh, Agency of Natural Resources.
A&R, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
A&R.
A&R.
Yes, and I'm who's
Agency of Natural Resources
Yes.
Wildlife
Okay,
Division
yeah.
will be putting a webinar on. There's information here, a link to it actually. They're doing it this Friday and then again the same one in November, a different time. And I think it's a good example of the kind of discussion we need to be part of to inform what Putney might do. So I'm feeling like we made the right step to give this mainly another year to do. And we're getting some very good input, and I think we now understand how to reach the affected community. And I feel like we've built some bridges and good connection so that we can do a project that is truly community informed, so that we come back with a proposal that is impactful, it's fair, equitable, and something we can afford to do. So that's where we are on it. That's my. I don't know if you have any further questions about it.
No,
No. Okay.
I'm glad it's moving along.
And I will note that Fletcher was able to join us last night. Thank you for being there.
Yeah, I thought that was a good program last night. I wasn't able to stay for all of it, but the discussion part, I was actually surprised at the amount of pushback you got on the forest block, why have it at all, forest block protection. So I'm hoping some of the questions that were raised then can be answered, because frankly, I didn't realize there was that much resistance to the whole darn thing.
Yeah, we did hear that at the focus group in July, and we just got even a further lens on it last night, which we were very welcoming to, better understanding. They said, don't current policies solve the problem? How do you know they don't? And I said, that's a great question. When we look at policy options, we need to understand the impact of current policies. We also need to understand any gaps and risks that we may face as a community. So this is actually pretty serious work. This is not light lifting. But I think we're getting the questions and we're getting the participation, and hopefully we'll find the resources to help us do the research and the analysis to answer those important questions. So thank you for that. I'm glad you're there. So that is taking a lot of time. And a lot more of mine, because it's turning out that the resources with our contract with Wyndham Regional are limited. And so I'm focusing my time on things that, like document management, things like that. But it's a bigger lift than I was planning for the fall. But we will be done, and we're making great progress. So the next project is teeing up the comprehensive village plan. We got a municipal planning grant to undertake a village plan as a guiding document for housing, economic development, streetscaping, addressing some of the traffic issues, safety issues that we were talking about earlier. So our intent is to begin the project in March, and to do that, we will issue an RFP for a consultant. The municipal planning grant pays for the consultant's time, and that's what it pays for, including the match from the town. So we will be forming a project advisory committee that will meet December 11th to review an RFP and a list of potential contractors, which is in development now. And we will then go forward to issue that and select a contractor so that we can begin the work with somebody in March after town meeting. And our work on zoning, at least state. But importantly, right now is we're seeking nominations for people to be on the project advisory committee. There's a very nice way to look for that on the town webpage in the news section. It talks about seeking nominations. You can nominate yourself, you can nominate another person, and there are a range of perspectives and skills we're looking for. It's all in the nomination form. So we are looking for them by the 24th of October. If we don't receive enough nominations, we'll extend that and look for more. But it would be great to have help with that. So if you could take a look at that, I would appreciate your help. And let me go on to housing. The main activity in the last several weeks was preparation of an unexpected opportunity to participate in one of the Vermont Housing and Community Development programs, the Homes for All program. They announced on September 5th, they were looking for 3 communities to do a development ready pilot project to develop actual guidelines and test them out for the rest of the state. So with Karen's assistance and also input from our future Putney Housing Solutions Task Force, we did put in a proposal or an application. I learned last week that we were not selected to be one of those 3 communities. I'm not entirely surprised. But we were not selected partly because we were not as development ready as some other communities who had incentives and active programs in place to work with developers. And they needed that to be able to do the pilot in the time frame they were looking for. But they encouraged us to learn from what they're doing and to continue to participate. So, and I think it's a great resource for part of what we need to do in the comprehensive village plan, which is to come back to you all, not only with what development, where, and with other attributes in the community, but what policies and what actions could the town take to try to encourage that development to actually happen. So we'll certainly turn to those communities who were selected and others, and I think that's a great resource to help us be more development ready. So I think it all works out in the end. That was the primary focus on it. Let's see, my next topic is back to sidewalks and roads. Putney Landing Walkway Design and Construction, where Karen invited Phil Bannister and myself to serve on a contractor selection committee to use the VTrans grant with the town match to do the design, the initial stages to do the design of the crossing that will be on the south part of Main Street. That will be a signaled walk, something like at the Putney Central School, and a walkway that will go between the banks to be determined exactly where it will be located. So VTrans has a list of pre-qualified firms, contractors at the ready. We've gone over that. We've been talked to a few of them, found out their availability and interest, and we will meet in the next week to select one of them to move it forward. We'll find out as we go along what time frame it will take. We're hoping it's a simple project that could be ready next summer. I don't know what I don't know. And I'll just, the last thing I'll say is, given the conversation earlier, a concern, I share the concern about the traffic at the end of South Main Street down by the co-op and the Putney Landing area. Something we need, and we've talked about it before, is we need a representative on the Transportation Committee at Winter Regional Commission. I'm actively recruiting people, talking to people, haven't found anybody yet, but it will, they vote once a year, once or twice a year. Karen used to be on this committee when she had time for that, but doesn't right now. They vote on which projects have priority. And if we're not at the table, it's harder to push ours to have priority. So I just want to say, if we want to solve these issues, we need to find somebody. And I'm talking not only to the select board, to the whole community. This is an important issue, and we hope that somebody would put their hand up, and I'd be happy to brief anybody about what's involved. And I know Karen is very interested in that as well. So I think it's important and something we all should focus on. So there's another project that I'm going to mention, and that is a comprehensive recreation plan. The town plan called for that, as you might recall, at a town meeting was I think in 2021, maybe 22, the Putney Parks and Recreation, there was a article, a non-binding article to create a Putney Parks and Recreation Department that would incorporate the existing Recreation League to enable better access to grant-supported program, risk management, direct oversight by the town manager. That's still a good idea. One of the things assigned to the Planning Commission in the 2023 town plan was to assist a comprehensive recreation plan. There is a municipal planning grant opportunity due early November. So I told Karen that I would assist the writing of a grant, a municipal planning grant for that. Something that I think is really core to this, and Karen and I have talked about this, is that it really is this creation of this plan and this study and having a consultant is a terrific opportunity to form this Putney Parks and Recreation Department. And I would like to see a founding group that could really provide leadership and eventually become maybe that department or parts of a board to participate in this recreation plan. As you know, I like to have an advisory committee for any project that we do to bring a range of voices to the table. And I think this would be a particular focus for that one. I hope that the recreation plan, if we've got the funding for it, would help stand up that board. That type of leadership is really needed to realize what we intend to do. So that is, the grant will include that. I did not bring with me tonight the municipal resolution that will need to be approved for the grant. It has to be signed by it names the town manager, all that. I wasn't able to get that ready before Karen was on vacation, but I will come to your meeting at the end of October with this very simple resolution that would appoint me to write the grant or to administer the grant and for Karen to oversee it. So the grant application for $30,000 will include a town cost match. I will work with Karen to figure out what money is available and when we need it, so I don't have that for you tonight. So that's also on a fast track. Town plan implementation tracking. I told you that I would give you a report. Given the work over the past 2 months, I don't have one tonight, but I will have one for you in November. About what we have accomplished that's called for in the Chapter 9 implementation plan, and areas that haven't made progress, so there could be a consideration by the select board about what you want to direct to make sure that we effectively implement the town plan to meet the needs as you see them today. And then you have our schedule of projects here, and it's just an update from the prior ones. I did give you as an attachment so that you would see it, the agenda for last evening's meeting. So there it is. We had that last night. And also you'll see the Forest Block Preservation Land Use Policy Research Plan. That was the subject of last night's meeting. I will say to anybody in the public, we welcome comments and suggestions about that research plan. Once we feel that we've gotten sufficient input, we'll make a plan and come back to you and let you know how we plan to proceed on that and what resources we believe we need and could access. That's my report. I'm sorry it took so long. It wasn't 5 minutes, but it was a little long.
Okay.
Comments from the board?
Thank you. That's my comment. It's like, oh, you got enough going on here? You know, there's a lot of projects, and they're really important ones, you know, so I just am deeply appreciative of all the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to serve the town. And I think it's a great moment in our history to be taking these things on.
Yeah.
And I do hope that we will find more people in the community who are willing to participate. I will say the advisory committee process that we're using, the Planning Commission, does have more people at the table, and I think people are more aware of what's going on and the opportunities to on-ramp. And I wanted to mention to you, related to that, is the Vermont Council on Rural Development, VCRD, who did the Our Future Putney visit a couple of years ago, would like to do a reconvening with us to check in about progress made and what is needed and opportunities for members of the community to step up and do things. So dates for that are under consideration would be in mid-December. That might be a bit of a stretch for everybody to accomplish, but also late January or early February. And I'll be working with the town manager and Marcella Ebersol from Future Putney and a couple of other folks to do more planning and come back with a more specific idea. But we do hope it can appreciate people for the work they've done, not just myself, but many other people, and also encourage others to step up and participate in both town things as well as community, based projects.
Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, I was at the meeting yesterday evening, which was excellent as always. Once again, I congratulate our Planning Commission Chair for her and her colleagues' excellent work in involving the public. I'm going to offer a suggestion here because it's a more public venue than yesterday evening, that our Planning Commission devote some time and thought to telling everyone more about what forest blocks are. They have been under the radar in Vermont, and nobody really seems to know what they entail. We had a presentation last evening, which basically said it was a video presentation, which basically said they are a good idea. Well, sure they are, but as property owners, they are said, so how does this affect us? I certainly would encourage everyone who owns property on Putney Mountain and on Bear Hill, which essentially are where the proposed forest blocks are, to inform yourselves about this. But I am suggesting to our planning commissioners that they actually could be a great help if they inform themselves and then people about what forest blocks are, because right now this forest block proposal is in trouble. There's more people showing up at meetings who are against it than are for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I just wanted to mention, I know, the new CHIP program. I assume that you're aware of how that works. I've attended a fairly interesting explanation of it during town fair. And I'm hoping that the town can utilize that in the future for public-private partnerships for housing projects. I think it's really encouraging, so hopefully that's being incorporated in the thought process.
It is, and there's a little bit of lack of time to go deep, but I would actually appreciate talking with you further about what you heard at the town fair. I couldn't get there, but I'd like to hear about that because
We can take that offline,
yeah, we will take that offline. So thank you for bringing that up. I welcome all these suggestions.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Any other public comment for Sue? I guess you're all set.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Hispanic Heritage Month, Equity and Inclusion.
That's me. I'm with the Equity Committee, and we just want to make a statement about National Hispanic Heritage Month, which will be over tomorrow. I had to look up the term Hispanic. Spain was once a world power and guilty of every evil any other world power was capable of during the so-called Age of Exploration and colonial times. Slavery, resource extraction, genocide, there's a good start. Spain seeded itself all through the Western Hemisphere, and today all those people of mixed descent sharing at the least the Spanish language are recognized as Hispanic people rather than Spanish people. National Hispanic Heritage Week was established by Congress in 1968 and signed into law by President Johnson to recognize the contributions and influence of Hispanic culture to this nation. It was expanded to 1 month by legislation signed into law by President Reagan in 1988. Every president has given a presidential proclamation to mark Hispanic Heritage Month. In 2024, Google Calendar discontinued its practice of listing many of several cultural and religious observations. such as Pride Month, Black History Month, Indigenous People Month, Jewish Heritage Month, Holocaust Remembrance Day, and Hispanic Heritage Month. Google explained that maintaining hundreds of cultural moments, quote, wasn't scalable or sustainable, unquote. It later removed those words, highlighting the customizable nature of Google Calendar. We do have the option of embracing this erasure of cultural acknowledgements as a positive, as a declaration of the Americanness of every difference. By declining to formally celebrate, to officially differentiate, it can be said that we are now fully accepting that whatever your heritage, you are now a fully certified American. Lacking an adequate vehicle to ensure that, we today make note of Hispanic Heritage Month and the people of all backgrounds that have come together to make this United States.
Thank you. All right, moving on, Selectboard New Business. SeVEDS report and request for annual funding.
I'm gonna use the nice new podium. Hi, I'm Danny Delaney. I'm the Assistant Director and Head of Business Acceleration at the Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation. I'm here today on behalf of SeVEDS, which is a grassroots organization. Many of you have probably heard this before because you've been giving to this for 11 years straight. In 2007, based on the realization that no one single town can handle economic development on its own, and economic development has changed a lot over the years. And it's not just bringing in really big businesses, there's so many different components to it. SeVEDS doesn't have a staff, so BDCC does most of the work in carrying out the work of SeVEDS. We help to lead the creation of the area's first federally recognized SeVEDS for the area, which is the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, which just recently got renewed and had tons of public input from people in Putney and all over to be able to think through what are our new economic development priorities in this time as a region. So that was recently approved. So into 2024 was submitted, and then it's taken almost a whole year to get it approved, but we're good now. We've got a new one. And every year we come into different communities and towns and ask to every community or town to contribute towards regional economic development efforts at a rate of $3 per person. This year we're asking the town of Putney to fund BDCC at $7,851 based on the population of 2,617 people to continue our efforts. It's the same amount we asked for last year. Based on the 2020 census population. Last year, when we did it in the budget, it was listed as a separate article. In the past, we've included this funding request as part of the general budget. We don't care how you do it, just tell us what we need to do to help. But I actually asked to be the person who came to Putney today. I've had such an incredible experience in Putney over the last year. We do a number of different programs in different buckets. So we do business assistance and financing, workforce development and training, community development and capacity building, commercial real estate development. But I can speak a little bit more for some of the business work that we've been doing here that's been really fun, and having to be able to co-host a Discover Putney event to celebrate local businesses and bring in businesses to talk about what they're doing, helping Putney Winery to transition, looking at all sorts of different ways in which we can come better together as a region to help businesses, including the Wyndham Business Support Coalition, which Sue, with all of her free time, is on. I don't know how she makes time for all of these things. But making sure that no one has to go it alone and trying to make sure the businesses here have the support that they need. So as many of you probably already know, some of your juniors, if they went to high school last couple weeks ago, they went to a reality fair. So that's part of some of our workforce development programs. Learned how to change a tire, were given a paycheck, and then had to figure out how to spend it, what kind of job that they would have, what kind of housing they would have, try to figure out how to manage some of their finances, how to tie a tie, how to do some of these things that they just need to do as they're moving through life and adulting. So it's a very wide scope of work of the things that we do, and we work on kind of a regional scale to make sure that we continue to do this. When we're asking funding from the local folks who we are trying to support, it's some of our most flexible thing. All the time. Things come with grants, and things come with very strict parameters about how it can be used. So this is the funding that really goes a long way in us being able to be creative and think through and solve some pressing issues that come to the table at that time. So I said earlier, we've been hosting business lab hours, the library here, been able to do lots of really interesting and business support things personally, and so it's been a great pleasure to be here more often this year personally. And then the last thing I will just add is this year we also sent out in advance of the meeting the Selectboard engagement survey. So before the town meeting, we are just asking that someone, or everyone if you feel like it, but it doesn't have to be everybody, fill out the survey so that we can get a better idea of the things you want to see us do in the future. It's one thing coming up to a podium and talking at folks, but it's another if you want to really talk to us about, also you can pick up the phone anytime, but really kind of aggregating some of the things that might be up and coming that folks need or want to see more of from us as an organization and how we can better serve you in the future. If there's anything, questions or anything that we need to do to ensure that we can be fill out, please just let us know, and I'll stand here for a minute if you have any questions about the work.
Just speaking personally, it would be helpful for me in thinking about this if that list of things that you rattled off that you felt benefited Putney, if you could flesh that out maybe in a handout or something that showed some specific impact on Putney. And because I'll tell you frankly, this is an almost $8,000 ask. I'm sort of thinking of it in relation to social services agencies, and it's more than they get. So I'm trying to, in my mind, to figure out how it stacks up in terms of its impact on the community.
Yes, absolutely. And you should have a link from previous, if you didn't get it, I'll make sure you get it tomorrow, but there's a link to the annual report that breaks down each community and all of the different impacts there. So if you didn't get that already, I will make sure that you get it immediately in the morning. Okay. But all of these things, we really take a regional approach, so it's not just what happens in Putney, but really ask everyone throughout all of our communities to be able to contribute to this important work, making sure that our workforce is trained. If you have a business who needs to train folks, then we help figure out what that looks like and how they get more people in the door. If you have students who need to a lot of students, they aren't going to go to college, they didn't go to trade school, like what do they do in the middle? So we do a lot of that work where there's gaps in the sort of economic development and workforce development, career paths, and as I said before, making sure that we connect in all of our business support services. But I will send you the impact report, but just to kind of, just to reiterate the sort of regional impact of the work that we try to do.
Well, things like if you're dealing with Putney students, how many at which schools, if we could.
So you have 60 students that are at the Brattleboro Union High School at this time, and one that goes to Leland and Greg, I think. And so any of those students who were juniors would have attended that program. Every year we do it, so every junior who has gone through. Sometimes they do different parts of it at different years, but almost every student goes through that program and has for a number of years.
I think there's 7 juniors-ish.
Okay.
my kid's a junior.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, perfect. Did they learn how to tie a tie?
No.
No. Oh, man.
I know, right?
Did they change a tire?
I think so.
Okay. Or a diaper? I don't know.
I wasn't up on the whole day. I get the, how was your day? Good.
Yeah. My 7-year-old does that. Like, it's too early.
Right.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Great. And just to add some numbers to that, we're working with over 100 businesses across the region, one-on-one for support. And then also just really focusing on business transitions as well. So if folks are trying to retire, think about what their succession plan is. So we worked with over 36 businesses one-on-one across the region. Pretty recently, we had a huge silver tsunami wave of folks who are retiring and looking for new ways out of that. So Putney Winery is one of those transitions, but there's actually been 6 over the course of the last year, which is a pretty good start to a program that hasn't been happening for a long time.
Mr. Fairman?
Mr. Chairman, I second what Select Person Proctor has said. To the addressing myself now to the representative of SeVEDS, you say that you focus regionally, but of course we do not. We focus locally on Putney. So basically the question is, what have you done for us this year? But in general, I would offer this. I follow economic development closely in Vermont, And I never see SeVEDS get any publicity, whether it be in Vermont Business Magazine or in newspapers or on various websites. So I'm suggesting that maybe you could give some thought, SeVEDS could give some thought to how to get a bit more publicity out there. Maybe you just aren't issuing enough press releases. I don't know, but you're definitely not on anyone's radar, even people who pay attention to economic development like me. Thank you.
Sure, thank you so much for bringing, can I respond to that too? Thanks so much for bringing that up. God, I don't want to write another press release, so maybe where they're going is another question. But a lot of that stuff comes out as BDCC, so that may be because it's in conjunction. But that is a great point. I'm certainly happy to send along after this meeting as well all of the news that came out this year about SeVEDS, all of the different work that's happening, and if that might be helpful for you. So.
I think that might be a really good idea to try to separate SeVEDS from BDCC, whatever, BDCC.
Yeah.
Because you are very intertwined, and I interact with you as well, almost daily, for my other job. So I know what you're doing, and I'm totally in favor of this funding, but it does come up frequently that nobody really understands what you do.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to explain it without, it's hard to separate you out from BDCC. So it kind of gets intertwined, even in my head, so.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. You know, BDCC contractually does a lot of the work that SeVEDS is, SeVEDS doesn't have staff, so there's an advisory committee, a board of its own, and so, but the work is contracted out to BDCC for the most part, because we do have a large economic development team for such a small rural region, which makes it great that we can work in so many different ways and across so many different programs. So I'm happy to kind of send more information about that, but I definitely hear you, and that's something we're always trying to refine how we talk about it and how it comes out, because it is difficult to explain. And it's one of many organizations that we sort of have under one roof and programs as well.
Any other comments from the board or public comment?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Development Review Board appointment.
So in your packet, is a request that came to my office from Rebecca Hyam. She's not here tonight. Requesting to be joining the Development Review Board. She did attend a meeting, I forget when it was. And then there was discussion about trying to get people to volunteer. So she has stepped up. I endorse this request to be appointed to the Development Review Board. I have talked to Pip. Pip has talked to Rebecca. I did ask for a letter of support from the Development Review Board, but I've not received one. Again, we need members on this Development Review Board. We're at the point where we may not make quorum. So I highly recommend this board make an appointment for Rebecca Hyam to the Development Review Board. So we have 5, but we do have one that has not attended in the last few meetings, and that is a challenge and it creates a problem. The other thing too, it does not allow anyone to be on vacation. So the board is a member of 5.
Okay.
And we still probably should be trying to recruit one more person.
Yeah, we allow alternates on there, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. So if people are not sure whether they want to be full-time members, they could always be appointed as an alternate. You could learn the ropes. But it is a very important board. But you can't really function without it.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, if we cannot review zoning applications, we're gonna be in trouble.
Can you remind me, just so I know, if we approve this, which practice we're going against in order to do this? Typically, remind me, we hope to get a letter from somebody who's interested in the committee, a letter of support from the committee or
I
something.
think it's in there.
I know, but does anybody remember?
I think we asked for a letter of recommendation, but it's not necessary.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So, and she did meet with Pip, so, I mean,
Okay.
that's not the full board, but,
Right, I wasn't.
and the DRB doesn't meet regularly, so it would be hard to convene a meeting just to meet with a new member and write a letter of endorsement.
Yeah, I wasn't,
Yeah.
I'm not against doing
Right.
that, I just wanted to know, be reminded what we said we were hoping.
I think we're
The
still,
ideal.
I think we're still in our, within the bounds of our hopes and dreams for that policy.
On that basis, I'll move to appoint Rebecca Hyam to the DRB.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Great, that's great.
Thank you.
All right, draft financial policies. Back to you, Karen.
Yes, so talking about financial policies, reserve funds. I would like to suggest our next meeting, which is a budget meeting, that we start to have discussions about the financial policies and the reserve funds. I think when we're talking about budgets and sorting through things, I think that would be the best time to do this. In your packet is the fund balance policy that was created in February, I believe it was. January 8th, sorry. It was created prior to the town meeting actually passing an article to create this policy. So, that being said, I'm going to need further direction, either from legal counsel, because I don't know what the process is. If this was created prior to a vote, does that mean it doesn't exist? Does it mean you have to repeal it? The article did pass at town meeting, and along the lines of that, in your packet also is the new municipal financing options in Vermont law. Provide legislative bodies more flexibility with actual fund balances. So basically, it states that fund balances actually can be rolled over year to year. So at this point, I'm going to need guidance from the select board, potentially legal counsel, and I think we need more discussion about what happens now, seeing as an article did get passed at town meeting. I wish VLCT had passed this out sooner than later, but
Well, I don't think this was finalized until after town meeting.
Correct.
The rules, so.
Correct.
so I have to ask, the fund balance policy, that the article that did get passed in March, I would believe that still stands. But that would be a question for Larry.
We don't have a copy of the article in here, do we?
I don't. Let me just see. I have it in I have my town report right here. Let me see. Oh, where is it? Hang on, folks. Designate rooms. Here it is. Shall the voters of the town of Putney authorize the transfer of $438,105 from unrestricted year-end surplus to the Select Board unrestricted reserve fund? Article 8 shall not be considered unless Article 7 is approved. Now, Article 7, folks, at the recommendation of the auditor, shall the voters of the town of Putney establish a select board unrestricted reserve fund to be used for unanticipated expenditures and revenue shortfalls during the course of the fiscal year as may be caused by economic downturns, natural disasters, and other unforeseen circumstances.
That's word for word for the purpose of the fund balance policy.
Right.
So,
Right. So it's a question, it's something we need to definitely talk about some more. I think we need a little direction.
The biggest difference I see between the policy we adopted and what the statute says is that the statute is broader than what we adopted. We limited it to, well, not a heck of a lot limited, but economic downturns, natural disasters, and unforeseen circumstances. The statute says may be expended for any public purpose as established by the legislative body. So as far as I can tell, the statute gives even broader latitude than the policy we approved.
Right.
So, obviously subject to review by town council, but I wouldn't say that this policy is in jeopardy because of the subsequent enactment. The statute is broader, so I don't see it being a problem.
yeah. And in general, I think it's still good practice, so,
Yes.
you know, what we're saying to ourselves is that we want to keep 90 days, right? And then
Yes.
the rest of it, I believe we say, we'll return it to the taxpayers.
Will be returned to the taxpayers in taxes.
Yeah. So, if we want to re-adopt it, just to, I guess, yeah, send it to town council and see what he says, and if there's something we need to update on there, we can re-adopt it.
Okay. Hopefully I can have a response by next week.
Okay.
Hope springs eternal.
We'll work through all this.
You gonna keep moving right down the line, or?
Oh, I was waiting for you, Mr. Chair.
I figured it was all under you, so. keep going.
All right, social agency request for funding. I just want to give the board the heads up that I have been approached by 3 social agencies. And I think this is another work exercise we present next week. But our social agencies are having a difficult financial time right now. I have 2 social agencies that are going to come back to the select board. They were in our group C and they are going to request money. We may need to be revisiting the social agency policy and how it is written and how we potentially look at our Putney social agencies. When the timing is right, I would like to present these people to the board. And I want time for them to be able to speak to you. And then we figure out what we need to do next. I have always stated for the last several years that all social agencies potentially should be an article at town meeting. Other towns do this. There's a risk in that, but I mean, if we're going to be fair and agencies are coming to towns for financial support, this needs to be addressed by the board. So I just want to give you a heads up and a warning that this is going to look different this year. And we need to be prepared to move forward.
Go ahead.
Karen, when you say this is going to look different, do you mean that there's going to be more agencies requesting funding? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Okay, and you're drawing from that the conclusion that we should change the way you're proposing we change the way we do the funding because of an increased number of agencies requesting funding.
I'm not requesting, we just need to listen
Mm-hmm.
and then decide how best to move forward.
Okay.
I just think you're going to see an increase in requests.
Mm-hmm.
And the request is going to be more than what our policy states.
These are existing social agencies, or these are new ones that are coming to us?
You say existing?
Existing in the policy that we have already.
They are not in, 2 are not. They were, but they are not. And 1 is.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's go for it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, well, I will be eager to hear who.
Okay, so we should talk about that next week. When we go over the financials, and we can set a schedule to have these people come to a meeting.
Okay.
Okay. I also got a request too, about how we disperse and allocate the money. So, that's a discussion I can, have the agency bring to the board. It's not an easy thing too for, agencies to ask for this too. So it's very delicate, folks. But I think you need to hear what's, the challenges and the actual real struggles for some of these local agencies, just to make it day by day. So I will put that on the agenda for next week, along with the reserve funds.
Okay.
Next item. If there are no other questions. First quarter financial 2026 is in your packet. I did look through them. There's nothing really, like, it's early in the fiscal year. I'm thinking we should be around 25%. There's a couple line items that, are a little higher than normal, but our lister's office is a little bit high. But we still continue to deal with 3 different appeals. But there's really nothing that's like throwing up a red flag for me right now. The general fund is at 38.9%. I wish it was a little bit lower, but some things have already been paid out 100%. I think it will level out. The highway fund is at 32.3%. I know we've had some ticket items, for repairs on equipment. They have one line item that I will talk with Lenny Howard about. Understand what's going on there. But again, I'm not concerned. We're too early in the fiscal year right now. The library fund is at 27.8%. And then the sewer and the water, that'll fluctuate throughout the year. When we get to December, folks, that's when I'll really take a hard look at things. And I do my annual plea in January, not to spend any more money if you don't have to. And of course, we still will collect property taxes. We have some grant money that's outstanding. The 1% local tax, we haven't seen that from the state yet. We may not see anything until December, which is strange to me, but we know the state's short-staffed and things move slowly. But right now, I don't have any major concerns about our budgets.
Could I make a really dumb comment? I hate it when people do this after I put this much work into all the numbers. But on the last page, it says total sewer fund, and it's really the water fund.
Yep. I will have that corrected for you.
Thank you.
Thank you for seeing that, though.
Well, I have, hobgoblins in my own mind.
Well, and I have to say too, this is when we create manually reports like this, so they're understandable, it makes me wonder, if there are any other mistakes. So this is why I rely on NEMRIC, which is our accounting software, to just produce the report. And I know it's hard for folks to read it, but I think that's an exercise that we need to practice. Because this report right here, and I didn't have time to actually double check it because I just got back last night, but mistakes are made and they can be fixed, but we do want, accurate information. So, but thanks for bringing that up, Fletcher.
Anytime.
All right. Any public comment on any of the select board new business? Okay. Select board old business, municipal code of ethics training.
Yeah, I put that on there, folks, because has everyone done the training for the municipal code of ethics?
That
This was like months ago.
it was that YouTube video that they expected us to watch,
That is correct.
and then there wasn't really any way to say, yes, I've watched it.
I think they emailed something, right?
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get
I watched it.
confirmation.
Maybe I said that I
Guilty.
told them that I did. I don't know.
I just want to stress the importance of if we're required to do certain trainings, that we ought to be doing them. And this is not just for the select board and the staff, but there are certain boards and committees that should take this training. It's important, and I mean, I don't know how much time we're going to spend chasing down every single person to make sure they take this training. So it's up to each one of us to be accountable and responsible and to try to do this, what we are asked.
Okay, so if we wanted to do this, what would we do now? Because it fell off my radar.
It's okay. We can resend the email
Okay.
to everybody. I will follow up every quarter to make sure that the appropriate people that are supposed to take it takes it. And I also want to stress too that VLCT has a lot of trainings. Please, people, please do your best to go on to VLCT and look at what they offer. It's good to ask questions, but some of their trainings are really good. And sometimes you take them more than once, and that's okay too. But please make the time to look at what is being offered.
Okay.
And like I said, my door is always open all the time. So if you have questions.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
So we are going to go into executive session. You have the language for that?
You know what? I didn't look it up. It's the do we have the VLCT? I'm not the do we have the
Yes.
statute for litigation?
Yes.
Yeah, I looked it up. It's 1 VSA 313 1E.
E. Okay.
Yep.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah. So everybody
Alright.
understands what it is.
All right, let me,
So executive session 1 VSA 313 1E, pending or probable civil litigation or prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party.
Are we making the decision?
So moved. Yeah, I think we are.
We are.
We are, right?
yes, you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're back, and we have a motion.
I move to endorse the letter from the Windham County Sheriff's Animal Control Officer concerning declaration of a vicious dog in Putney.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next meeting is a work session, October 22nd, and then our regular meeting is October 29th. I hear motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.